Hello everyone, and thank you so much for tuning in to ChasingCinema.com's official YouTube channel. I'm your host, Jacob Tiranno, and today is my recap video of week 2 of my 365/366 day movie challenge. 2 of 52 completed. I've done it. I just want to quickly go over everything that I watched. Not probably going to be as long as last week. I don't want to take that much time to review each film. Plus, I've been seeing a lot of new releases, so we'll be talking about that as well. But before we get any further, make sure to go to ChasingCinema.com, click on Jacob's Journey. You'll be able to follow my blogs of this whole entire journey. Also, you follow me on Twitter at Jacob Tiranno. Links in the description box below. That's JACOBTIRANNO. Instagram as well. I'm posting pictures of all the movies that I've been watching, so make sure to tune into that as well. Also, there's an eye on the screen, either up here or up here. I'm not really sure. If you click on that, you'll find a bunch of links for videos that we've done, including my week 1 recap and also new releases that I've been reviewing. But let's hop right into it. So, Vampire's Kiss. I watched the 1988 film from Robert Blurman, starring Nicolas Cage, about him basically becoming a vampire, possibly, debatably. Honestly, I wanted to watch this movie because I saw a video on YouTube called, Nicolas Cage losing his SHT. And it's a hilarious video, and there's a lot of clips from this movie that are probably the funniest parts of that video, and I just never had the opportunity to see it. It's also where they get that meme from, where he's looking, I really can't do it as well as him. For those of you that know me personally, know I'm a huge fan of Nicolas Cage. I really enjoy watching him. He cracks me up. But I wasn't a big fan of this movie. No. Besides him, who's really fun to watch, the movie is just really uninteresting. It didn't give me much to care about. I wasn't really into it. I mean, I was kind of just honestly bored. I had that bored feeling and just wondering where we were going here. Like, what's the point here? And he has his few moments, that scene in the video, and beyond that, it's not something I'd really watch. Sorry about that noise. Next movie, I saw 13 Hours, The Secret Soldiers of Benghazi. This film is a brand new movie that just came out this past Friday. Like I said, if you click that white eye, my review of this film, or full review of this film, will actually come up. So make sure to just click that. I'm not going to talk much about this, but it's a new film from Michael Bay. I thought it was all right, and I'll leave it at that. I would love for you to go see the review, or if you go down here in the description box, you'll be able to read Louis' full-on review. That's also available in the white eye up here. The following film, I watched a movie that I cannot not stop talking about, and that film is called The Resurrection of Jake the Snake. For those of you who don't know, Jake the Snake is a legendary wrestler who competed in the WWF, which is now known as the WWE. Carry a snake with him and throw it on his opponents after the match was over. A very vicious and most of the time hailed as the greatest psychological in-ring competitor of all time. For some of you, I'm just talking babble. I apologize. But this film is a very, very powerful documentary directed by Steve Yu, which tells the story of his resurrection. Now, those of you who don't know, Jake the Snake kind of was derailed, gained a lot of weight, a lot of drug and alcohol addiction, and kind of just went off the map. Even got himself banned from the federation that he's known for being one of the most popular people in. And all from another wrestler's help named Diamond Dallas Page, who took him in and put him on his yoga regime that is now being kind of seen worldwide. If you've ever seen those videos about, these really inspired videos about DDP Yoga, that is that wrestler, and he put Jake and another wrestler named Scott Hall on this regime. They were in this house together, and it's just basically about them fighting to get Jake the Snake clean. We learn a lot about Jake's past, and just really kind of see the struggle that he went through. And it's a really, really emotional experience. I don't even think you have to be a wrestling fan or care about wrestling to see this, because it's a man at his lowest point fighting and clawing to get back to a good place. I believe he has 7 to 8 children, and he wants to make good with them and, eventually be remembered for all the work that he put into the World Wrestling Federation, which is now known as just WWE. And the movie has a really great way of expressing and showing the ups and downs of Jake's struggle. Really would recommend it. Believe only right now it's available on iTunes. I can't wait for it to come out on Blu-ray and DVD because I just can't wait to watch this movie again. The next day. Okay, so a lot of you guys are like, what are you doing watching this? You have a whole year full of movies. Make sure you're watching good ones. Well, I am already, before I started this, I was already embarked in a Children of the Corn marathon. So I've been going through every single Children of the Corn film. And on this night, I decided to get one step closer to the end, and that was the 6th installment, which I believe was a straight-to-video release, called Children of the Corn 666, Isaac's Return. Woof, I have to say. I'm not a fan of this movie. I thought it was directed oddly. I didn't know what was going on. It was just the pacing, the direction, the characters' choices and motivations, everything was just so off. I was not a fan at all, and that's not too surprising. I will say that some of these sequels have been worth the watch at least. I don't know exactly if it was 2 or 3 that I enjoyed and just had a good time with, because there's a great action set piece at the end where it literally just becomes figurines fighting. You're like, oh man, those are toys! And you could... anyway, nonetheless, not so great of a watch, but what are you going to do? Then I watched a film that I've been actually really interested in seeing for the past 2 years. It's from Peter Siegel, and it's called Grudge Match, which stars Sylvester Stallone and Robert De Niro, both former boxers who ended up in a tie. De Niro won one, Sylvester Stallone won one match, then Stallone retired, and this whole movie is about them being 30 years later, in their 60s, their 70s, and getting back in the ring and fighting. Now, I will say this movie, as far as Stallone goes, could not touch Creed with a 10-foot pole, and though Grudge Match was not very pleasing to audiences or critics, I found myself enjoying the movie. Kevin Hart, Kim Basinger, Alan Arkin, and though it is a very silly, nonsensical movie, I think it was just somewhat enjoyable. I think spending time with De Niro and Stallone is where the money is in this movie. And I don't think I mind a lot of it. The Buffalo Bills got a wonderful shout out. Well, I wouldn't say wonderful, but a shout out nonetheless. But De Niro and Stallone have a really good chemistry, but it's more like grumpy old men than it is real enemies. And that's kind of seen very early on. Kevin Hart is Kevin Hart. Alan Arkin plays the old trainer. Mickey, he plays the new version of Mickey. There's a lot of callbacks to both Raging Bull and Rocky, which makes this movie really interesting, is that both of these characters have played legendary boxers from the past in movie characters. Though Robert De Niro's character was based off a real person, nonetheless. I thought it was an okay movie. An okay movie where I didn't expect a lot, but I thought it was fun to watch. Following that, I watched a new movie called Shaun the Sheep. Not that new, but from this year, which is basically an adaptation of a television show, an animated movie that was nominated for Best Animated Feature in the Oscars. I'm trying to finish off everything that I've not seen from 2015. And this movie, from Mark Burton and Richard Starzak, is a blast. It's 85 minutes. It's a really short animated movie from the creators of Chicken Run and Wallace and Gromit. Basically about this sheep named Shaun who's decided to try to take the day off, but in so creates a whole bunch of horrible events, and their farmer is put in the city with memory loss, and it's their job to get it back. Now, I've never watched the show Shaun the Sheep, and I've seen Wallace and Gromit, but only in German. I watched it in German class. So I've never seen the movie as is, but there's not usually a lot of talking in these movies anyway. There's really no dialogue in this movie either, a lot of mumbling and grumbling. But this movie is so sweet, it'll put a smile on your face, and there's plenty of things for the whole family to enjoy. Very slapstick. I was laughing out loud multiple times in the movie. And it's smart, and it's full of references. The Night of the Hunter, Cape Fear, Silence of the Lambs. Movies that you would not expect to be referenced in a PG or G-rated, a PG-rated comedy animated movie, but they're there, and they're hilarious. Just a wonderful movie that'll just make you happy to kind of see. If you're not into cartoons or silly things, it wouldn't be for you. Me, on the other hand, I like kind of silly things at times, and I think this movie was really, really effective. Don't think it'll beat Inside Out for the Academy Award. There goes a early bird prediction for you. As we know, we'll usually do the Oscar predictions. But Shaun the Sheep, good stuff. And finally, wrapping up this week, I watched Cartel Land. Filmed, produced, I think directed, produced, filmed all by Matthew Hinneman, which is a documentary that was also nominated for Academy Award for Best Documentary Feature, about these vigilante groups who have decided to take it upon themselves, one in the States, one in Mexico, to fight back the cartels. And as we dig deeper in these groups, we learn that they are not as clean or as righteous as they would project to be. If you aren't aware of the whole cartel situation, and you aren't really in tune to the horrible things that the cartel has done to that country, and even product from them is entering this country, I think this is a really good movie to kind of get you to speed. It is a very savage movie in the sense that it's just a very, maybe savage isn't the right term, but it shows the how these people could be savages and not finding the right adjectives here, but violent and excruciating and painful and devastating. Just a devastating movie about what the cartel has done to Mexico and now what's leading into the United States. One of the vigilante groups sit in America and are kind of fighting the border, and some of them do it because of, immigration as well as the cartels, but some of them don't have the best intentions. And the other group, which is basically a vigilante group in Mexico that are going to these towns in Michoacan, Mexico, and telling people to fight back and to get armed and take back their country. And it's about their kind of rise and fall. I wouldn't even say fall, but their rise and what exactly becomes of them. There is a lot of horrible things in this movie, so if you cannot watch certain things, I wouldn't recommend it. Very, very explicit beheadings. We don't actually see the beheadings, but you see the aftermath. Things that will make you nauseous if you're not someone who can tolerate gore. To be honest, I thought it was one of the hardest things to watch that I've probably in recent memory. Very, very, and it because it's all real, watching something on screen, you kind of always get in this feeling of like, okay, well, at least we all know it's not real. But when you watch something like this and you're just like, man, that's a real picture, or that's a real human being, it's quite harrowing. And I think it's the perfect word to describe this movie. But a spellbinding and an incredibly devastating portrait of corruption. I would recommend it if you could tolerate it. If you want to hear this fascinating story about corruption and greed and what's going on in Mexico and what's falling into the United States, this is a great movie to watch. Well deserved, but not an easy watch. That's going to wrap it up for week 2 for me. So make sure, as I said, every movie that I watch every single day, I post on Letterboxd as well as Twitter. Letterboxd is more just a film blog where I just log all the movies that I've seen. You can follow that description below. But Twitter and Instagram, of course, where it's at Jacob Tiranno, at JACOBTIRANNO. And, of course, ChasingCinema.com. Make sure to click the white links up here and here and the description box below. Make sure to subscribe because every week I'm doing updates like this. And I hope you enjoy this video. Give it a thumbs up. Let me know what your thoughts are down here in the comment sections below. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Jacob Tiranno, and please continue chasing cinema.